me. Here we are over on YouTube. So for those of you who did just jump over from TikTok, thank you. And if you just like found me on YouTube for the very first time, especially thank you. I try not to like sound judgy over on TikTok, but YouTube is where it's at. I mean, this is where we can have a much I don't know. The word that's coming to my mind is a peaceful conversation. Mondays and Wednesdays, we do the membership conversations, and those are a smaller group. And I typically get to answer each and every question, or at least that's my goal. This will be our larger group. We'll see how many questions I get to get answered. So we'll see. But again, thank you for those of you who have caught me in real time. Thank you to those of you that are finding me on replay. You might be brand new to me, so let me just take 1 minute and say I'm an interdimensional communicator. That's how I describe myself today, but I was not always this way. Most of my life, I would have been shocked to hear those words come out of my mouth. I had a spontaneous spiritual awakening that led me on a journey that brought me here. So now this is my full-time job. I do group sessions like this. I do private sessions, and I do in-person events, which I'm just so excited about. You already heard me. If you were on TikTok, we already covered that, but I'd love for you to join me in person. I have got 2 open for registration currently, Paris and Minneapolis, and you can read about both of those at divinemagic.com/in-person. Minneapolis is the big one. And I just added more tickets. I didn't want to forget to say that. If any of you were disappointed that we sold out of the workshop spots and also the immersion package, I reconfigured the venue and details so that I got more spots. And there's plenty of spots left for the big group event. Well, I should say, I mean, we're getting there. I think we might sell out that too. That'd be fun. But anyway, point is, it's not too late to grab one of those spots in the workshops if you were disappointed that they were sold out before you got your spot. And again, divinemagic.com/in-person if you want to get to those details. All right. I don't want to sound like a commercial. That's really not the purpose of today. I do just want to make sure that you know that I'm designing something really exciting. I cannot wait. I've got coffee in a beautiful mug again today. It's iced coffee. This is my new I got really addicted to the cold foam at coffee shops these days. So I make my very simplified version where I have whipping cream and I shake it shake it in the carton, and then I pour it on top of my iced coffee. So thank you for indulging me as I enjoy my coffee. All right, here we are. So I'm going to say some hellos in the chat. I've got Roz. The one thing I didn't do over on TikTok is share a card. So we're going to do that. This is a deck that it's so interesting that they had me pull this out because it's been sitting on my desk, for a long time now. And I don't even remember the last time I pulled it out. This is by Megan Watterson, who wrote, who's a scholar of divine feminine, Mary Magdalene. She wrote Mary Magdalene Revealed, which Mary Magdalene herself, she's like, it's not perfect, but it's pretty good. So we're going to get a card from a divine feminine goddess today. We'll see who wants to say hello. Let me just say some hellos while I'm doing this. So first of all, hello, Kimberly. Hi, Taryn. Yay. Hello to all of you guests. I'm seeing a lot of new names. Thank you for joining. Steve, hi. Stephanie's here. Hi, Stephanie. Call out to Stephanie. She is going to be one of our panelists. I didn't notice if Dale is here yet today or not, but Stephanie and Dale are both going to be panelists in Minneapolis. If you haven't yet seen what they can do together, it's amazing. I missed their live last night, but they do lives on TikTok and they post replays. So they work together. Dale facilitates and Stephanie channels, and it's amazing. So they're going to be in Minneapolis. Hi, Diane. Hi, Jacqueline. Lane July. Hi, Tammy. I'm waiting for a card to. I should hold them up a little higher. Another thing that you'll notice about me is I do not shuffle my oracle decks. I just sort of gently. This is like as far as shuffling as I go. I'll sort of cut the deck, and then I sort of let them slide on either side. So it's almost like I'm cutting the deck a bunch of times over and over and over. I just always felt that these tarot decks and oracle decks. I just felt like shuffling them like you would a playing card deck is just a little rough on the cards. Like I relate to the cards as like little wisps of intelligence. And I like to be gentle with them. So what I do is I just really, and especially this deck, I have not held this deck in my hands for a long time. So because they are like little wisps of intelligence, if we haven't been in touch in a while, we just need to warm up again. And so like one just popped out and I just oh, that's interesting. It just flashed by me again. All right, I'm gonna pull it out. Well, yeah, it's not our card for today. They told me that, but maybe it's my card. Okay, that's what I'm hearing. They want me to look that card up later, but that wasn't it. And that's another example. If you were with me on TikTok, you already heard this, but let me repeat that it's very important. If you hear nothing else from me today, hear the message of every human should take it upon themselves to learn how to feel a yes in your body. In ancient times, that was like a normal thing. But then today, I mean, maybe we kind of refer to like gut feeling or intuition, but we're not conditioned to believe it. We're not told to trust it. We're, in fact, if anything, we might be told to doubt it. So I just was feeling called to share that again. Practice feeling that yes in your body, because what happened a minute ago is there was a card that kind of seemed like it was popping out, but I felt in my body the lack of a yes. I knew it wasn't our card. But then what happened is I glanced down and the card was passing by again. And I'm like, that's not random. And so they're like, yes, I heard a yes, that's not random. And then I was like, but it's not our card, correct? And I heard a yes, correct. And then I heard, oh, it's my card for me to look up later. So this is actually our card. These are our two cards. Because another thing that happens is sometimes I just hear them say, stop, like it didn't pop out or something. They just say, stop. And so I stop. And then so that's what I did. And I picked up the top card and I saw I felt like, yep, that's our card. And then the one right under it, I also felt a yes. So I picked up the top card, felt the yes, and then also felt the yes in the second one. So that I'm going to show them to you one at a time. So the first card that popped out was Queen Esther, the morning star. My ego is in service of my soul, and I trust my soul's divine timing. The reference to the morning star is what really resonated with me, because the morning star is also a term used for Yeshua. Like the east, facing east, where the morning. So I'm just listening. Okay, now I'm going to go into the book and see what else we are meant to hear from Queen Esther. Well, that's interesting. I just opened the book and I opened right to Isis. I didn't open to Queen Esther, but I opened right to Isis. So she's definitely showing us her magic. Let me get to Queen Esther. Oh, I forgot. This is the one that's it's not alphabetical, but I got it. Okay. Queen Esther, the morning star. My ego is in service of my soul, and I trust my soul's divine timing. Who she is. Esther represents the powerful combination of feminine intuition and divine timing. Esther was a Hebrew orphan born with the name Hadassah. Raised by her cousin Mordecai, she lived with the Jewish community in exile in Persia during the 5th century BCE. I'm going to jump ahead. Using her brilliance and her intuition, Esther came up with a plan to save her cousin and her people. Her beauty had caught the attention of the king, so when his current wife refused to come when called, Esther seized the moment, and the king chose her to be his wife. Okay. I'm already hearing like, well, that's not exactly correct, but I'm just reading ahead because I'm hearing some edits wanting to come through. Okay. Okay, sorry. I'm just a little distracted because I'm reading, but I'm also hearing. All right, they want me to go to the second card. So just stand by. We're going to hold that thought. So again, we went from Queen Esther to Sekhmet. That was right underneath. And again, no accidents. Sekhmet came through kind of recently, right? Dale and Stephanie connected with Sekhmet recently. She's an Egyptian goddess. She's in my pantheon. I have this. So she's the lioness in the Egyptian pantheon. But let me show you. When I met her over a year ago, not over a year ago, almost a year ago. As I've done with most of the deities, I interviewed her, learned about her, learned about how she would like us to imagine her, because she does not have a physical body. None of them do anymore. But she does have a rendering that she would like me to share with you that we did together, she and I. So this is how she would like us to imagine her today, Sekhmet. She's of the Lilith lineage. She's the lioness goddess. So she came through to say hello. So again, Sekhmet, the red lady. I am pure strength. I honor my anger by giving voice to it. So for some reason, these two were meant to come through for us. Let's see how they kind of align. Sekhmet, what does she have to say? So again, the Sekhmet, the red lady. I am pure strength. I honor my anger by giving voice to it. Sekhmet represents the sacred rage that keeps us protected and reminds the world of the pure strength of female power. Sekhmet is an Egyptian warrior goddess depicted with the head of a lioness and the body of a woman. The lion was considered the fiercest hunter in Egypt and a sign of protection. She's the daughter of the sun god Ra. The red solar disk that she wears indicates that she is a solar deity. She is known as the powerful one, the red lady, she who mauls, and the one before whom evil trembles. Okay. Now I'm just listening to this lesson that's meant to come through for both of these together. The story that I didn't read out loud with Queen Esther was that she, it kind of made it sound like she was trying to trick the king. Well, and she's saying she did. I mean, Lilith is here saying that she did. They're both of the Lilith lineage, but Persephone overlaps too. I don't know. This is where it gets complicated. This is welcome to the lives, because this is the type of thing that like when I'm either receiving a message for a video or maybe I'm in my own practice, I'm just like, wait, what? It just takes a while sometimes. So there's some kind of lesson. They want us to hear about these two divine feminine deities, Queen Esther and Sekhmet. What they have in common is that they really took their life in their own hands. They it's all about creating what you want. Now Esther has that component of the divine timing, and that feels very relevant and tied into the messaging for today, because if you've been with me for a while, we've been waiting for motherships for a long time, and every time they bring me back to motherships, these days I'm just like, I don't want to know estimates. Please don't tell me estimates, but if you've changed your mind, say so. I don't like to be strung along. No one does. And they always come back and say, yes, the motherships are still coming, and they are getting closer and closer. Well, they're here. It's not that they're coming into visibility. That's the best way to say it. Okay. All right. There might be something more coming through about Sekhmet or Queen Esther, but for now, they're asking me to go to the comments and see. And again, when we do our member lives, I pretty much get through each and every question, or at least I sure try. I don't know if we'll make it today, but I welcome your questions. Please pop them in the chat if you have anything you'd like me to cover. Anyone can watch this live. You do have to be a subscriber to make a comment, but all you have to do is click the button. There's this pretty low barrier. Oh, hi, Ronnie. Ronnie's back. Hi, Mary. Hi, Robin. Hi, Malika. Hi, Lane July. Yeah, Lane July said, she was just over on TikTok. It wasn't bad. It wasn't bad. It wasn't bad today. No, some days is worse than others. Today was not bad. Though my moderator, like, I don't even see whenever it's bad or not bad. I have very little awareness of when it's bad, because my moderator does a great job. All right. Hi, Annette. Hi, Kiana's here. Hi. Yeah, Diane's here. Carrie, hi. Oh, you're in the Canary Islands. Oh, that's a place that I've never been, but sounds amazing. Hi, Steph. Hi, Heather. Caesar, hi. Christine. Yep, we're gonna do the show and tell. Thanks for Christine's reminding me. We'll get to that. I've got it right next to me. Hello in Birmingham, Alabama. Hello. Oh, Venky's here from Norway. Hi, Venky. Hi, Jenny. Hi, Katrina. Hi, Aaron. Well, Aaron's here. Yay. I know. Aaron says this week went fast. I know. I seriously got up this morning and I'm like, it can't be Friday already. Is it seriously Friday already? Wow. Mel's here. Aaliyah's here. Joyful. Yannette. Tiffany. Terry James. Hi. Sandra's here catching a live. Yay. Gary. Hello again. Malika. Jessica is sharing that she had a spontaneous awakening in October, still navigating and opening your gifts. Welcome. I'm so glad you're here. When I went through it, I didn't have I looked. I was just sharing with a friend yesterday of just my stories of how I tried to find guidance when it was all brand new. Never did. So those of you who would describe yourself like Jessica did, where you had a spontaneous awakening like I did, I'm glad you're here. And I'm not saying that I can answer all your questions, or I am also definitely not saying that what was true for me is also going to be true for you. But what I can do is validate that you're not alone. You're not imagining things. Those of us who have had an awakening feeling, an awakening experience, sometimes the very first thing we need to hear is, it's not your imagination. It's very much intentional. You're right on time. And I'm just tuning in. The phrase that's coming through is, and we're just getting started. That's what's coming through. We're just getting started. So that's fun. All right, let me keep going to catch up with your comments, and then we're going to get into the show and tell. And just in case you haven't been here, what you should know is sometimes what I do is I'll see a question and then I'll get guidance of like, not, don't try to answer the question right now, right? Make a post-it note and we'll come back. So I'm ready to do that. Okay. Elsa has a question. Thank you for those of you coming over from TikTok. I just want to say, acknowledge you. Thank you. Carrie's noticing synchronicities in the cards. Yeah. Oh yeah, and Dale, Dale and Stephanie are both here talking about Sekhmet popping up. Yeah. All right. I'm seeing a couple questions that they're already telling me to put on Post-its. So I don't know your name, but Silent Anchor is asking how the aliens see us. Is it like watching a movie? Are they in our space with us, or are they reading our energy? Put it on a Post-it. That's what I was asking. Like, is that a Post-it? Yes. Okay. I want to come back to that because I can hear a short answer coming through, but I'm like, is there more? And they're like, yeah, there's more. So we're gonna put that on a Post-it note. How do aliens see us? Is what I'm gonna write. So I know a little bit about that, but not. They're telling me that there's more to say, so that'll be fun. Okay. Oh, hi, John Lumpkin. John's always good for the questions, the Post-it note questions. So he's Lucifer is also called the morning star. Mormon religion says Jesus and Lucifer are brothers. Are they related or two sides of the same coin? I know that there's a long story behind that. I don't know if they want to tell it today. Are they brothers? Yes. Do you want to get into the story today? No. Okay. So short answer, John. Yes, Lucifer is also called the morning star. Yes, they are brothers. There's also a connection to Quetzalcoatl in the morning star. So that's a theme. I might end up. I think I might write a Medium article about the morning star, John. But I'm just listening to what wants to come through. So yeah, no, not a Post-it, John. They just said, "Yep, they're brothers." That's all for today. But maybe a different day because they have given me the backstory of Lucifer and it's fascinating. And of course it's not at all, what we're supposed to believe. Okay. Let me keep going into. Okay. Elsa is asking, did Yeshua's later incarnations involve living lives as an ascended master? Can he give us examples of what positions he held? Let me see if that's a Post-it. Is that a Post-it? No. Is that a short answer right now? Yes. Is Yeshua here right now? Yes. Okay. I thought he probably was. He was with us over in TikTok, so I thought he was still hanging around. He's never far. I mean, my whole pantheon is never far to kind of. I mean, this sort of starts to get into this a little bit, but we are. Listen to the words. They're like they're already kind of getting into. They're like, you might be a little freaked out. We're never alone. Our pantheon is always with us. Yeah. So they're just saying we'll come back to that. But yes. So short answer now. Okay, on this one. Did Yeshua's later incarnation involve living lives as an ascended master? So let's go. Yes. So he was an ascended master when he came as Yeshua, and then he's been back since then. Um, whoa, he just told me an example that he has never given me before, and I'm just checking to make sure he wants me to say that. Say that? Yes, okay. He's saying an example of when he came back again as an ascended master that many of you would know is Nikola Tesla. Yeshua came back as Nikola Tesla. Confirming. Yes. So that's one example. He doesn't want to give me any other examples, but that's a pretty good one. Feels like a yes in my body. Those of you who are practicing the rods, that'd be a really good thing for you to practice. You tell me, use your rods or pendulum or whatever you're using, or your body. Was Nikola Tesla an incarnation of Ascended Master Yeshua? I get a yes. Mr. Wizard King, you're saying you are a reincarnation of Enki. You're not. Sorry to break it to you, but that is you are of the lineage of Enki. Is just the little correction that that I'll make there. I see this question about GLP-1s. We did talk about that just the other day, but well, let's talk about that again. I'm hearing so, but I'm going to put it on and post it. GLP-1s. Or did we talk about it last Friday? Well, we'll touch on it again. It's okay. Gary's asking, there were several videos over Israel, a ship. Was that real or fake? I'm going to ask it like this. Is there a real spaceship in Israel? Yes. Yeah. Is it one of the motherships that we're waiting for? No. Yeah, because the way that they've always shown me is all the motherships are coming in all at the same time. Yeah. So when we see the motherships, they will all come at the same time. So if there's just like one ship or a ship that kind of comes and goes, that's not the motherships yet. But there's tons of auxiliary ships that are going to be zipping around and in different places. The motherships are going to stay in one place. They're going to stay stationary. They're not going to land. They're not going to be sitting, parked above cities. They're going to be above oceans and mountains. We're going to see them from a distance, but not like straight up. Because they know that humans are going to try to do violence. They know, like, duh, of course they will. So they just don't want, that's why oceans are going to be the most popular place for them, or water, because water is a good buffer, a good, just listening, stand by. So I'm back to Israel. Okay, so they're going to know because I just was saying you're not going to let nuclear war happen. No. So part of the reason that, of course, they're nearby where wars are happening is that if they have to intervene, they will. I mean, that's a no, but they're like, no, they're not going to let that happen. Yes, they will intervene. They have before and they will again. Okay. Yeah, fun, Gary. That was a yes. Sandy says, yeah, I'm too busy learning my skills to ask about them showing up. Yeah. I mean, last year I was just so obsessed with when are they coming? And, of course, they were telling me to tell you that they were coming. And so I was like, heartbroken every time that I broke your hearts, like I was kind of the point where I'm like, I come, don't come. Just don't tell me to tell them if they're going to be heartbroken like me. So, and then for a long time, I was just like, oh yeah, aliens. I kind of forgot, but they're coming. I mean, they're like, I'm feeling things stepping up again. Doesn't mean they're coming. Doesn't mean that today's the day, but I'm feeling a shift. So I will share that to you. I will not say a date or an estimate or time frame, but I will reflect to you that I'm feeling acceleration again. I felt acceleration last year too. And what they tell me is there was timelines. There were timelines where they came in March and they came in June and they came in September, and it wasn't good. They're bringing me back to Nikola Tesla, who I'm certainly no expert, but I know that what he's known for is he was trying to bring us free energy. And that was why Yeshua was sent. He was sent to give us free energy. He was sent to work against the opposing forces that were withholding free energy from us in order to remain wealthy and retain control. So Yeshua came as Nikola Tesla to move us away from expensive energy and to free energy. But then I'm wondering if they're going to give me more details today, and I'm not hearing more details because what they've told us in the past is there was a timeline when Nikola Tesla was successful. He was able to execute his full vision, and we got to free energy, but it was bad. Like, they don't tell me why or how. They just tell me, just like they say that the timelines when the aliens came last, March and June and September, they were bad. The timelines where we went from the control of opposing forces to free energy, it was too much too soon. I'm hearing that come through. The powers that be, that the opposing forces. Okay, again, they're not giving me details. They're not giving me details, but they're just definitely communicating to me that as bad as things feel now, it was worse. Uh like it did. Hang on. They're showing me something they've never shown me before. They've definitely shown me many times the split of old Earth and new Earth. Um, they always I always use my hands like this, where it's like once upon a time there was only one Earth, and then this strategy of splitting off new Earth from old Earth was developed, and so ever since then we've been pulling apart, and now we are apart. They're showing it to me like we're apart, but there's strings in between. Like we're not separate. We're apart, but we're connected. And so that's how they show me present day, new earth, old earth. Now, what they just showed me about Nikola Tesla, which is a new visual for me, is they showed me um I'm just gonna sometimes they show me something really realistic, and sometimes they show me almost like it was like an animation, like an infographic type of thing that's not meant to be realistic. So that's the latter is what's happening here. So they're showing me like the earth, same kind of like an image as when I see the two, but this is old earth and this is new earth. New earth isn't in this picture. This is old earth. This is the earth where Nikola Tesla was able to bring his vision to life. And then they're showing me like pew 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 pew, like World War III. Um, and they're showing me like reset. They're showing me that very soon after uh free energy got into place, um, the opposing forces, the only thing they had left to fall back on was war, because they make money when war happens too. They make money kind of in every situation, but back then and on that timeline, they were making most of their money from energy and second most from war. So when they lost energy as a way to make money, they leaned way into war, and it was just constant wars. Uh, and then here's the part that they have never shown me before. They're saying this is the timeline. This is Nikola Tesla's free energy timeline. It went from they kind of showed me like these like towers popping up, free energy towers all around the earth. And then they showed me like pew, 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 like them like war um breaking them or whatever. And then the whole planet just kind of goes poof. So it's like what they're telling me, now they're paraphrasing, And they're saying that Nikola Tesla, the timeline where Ascended Master Yeshua fulfilled the mission of Nikola Tesla, there was no version of that that led to a better place than like where we're at now. And where we're at now is not all that great either. But yeah, I don't know. They're just sort of like, and they're like, and they just sometimes they get to the like the end of the comment. They're like, nope, that's all we're gonna say for now. So fascinating. I didn't know that. That's brand new to me. I had no idea. I had no idea that Nikola Tesla was an incarnation of Yeshua. Okay, they're sending me back to the comments. Let's see what else you got. Thank you for your questions and your comments. And again, thank you for those of you who are finding me for the first time or new on YouTube anyway. Okay, Jessica is asking, so we don't have to fear any beings coming in a false light. That is true. There is no such thing as false light because there's no such thing as real light. There's light and there's darkness, and both are healthy. Both are within us. Darkness is not the same as evil. Evil is created when humans make choices, selfish choices to harm others. That's the definition of evil, and that's not the same thing as darkness. Coffee. Sometimes I'm like deep in thought, and then I'm just like, oh, that's good. And I still have the show and tell. All right. Okay. Let me just complete that thought. No false light because there's no real light. There's light and there's darkness. Now, what some people mean when they say false light might be like, say, a trickster, a deity that comes in your connection, who tells you something other than the literal truth. Those are all real, but that's not false light. That's a teacher. That is skill building. We cannot get deep into this journey without being initiated and building skills, because they will not let us go to the more advanced levels if we're going to be easily deceived. And so they will come to us not as false light, but as our beloved Pantheon members, and they will trick us because they need us to learn the skill, because either they trick us or, opposing forces trick us. So we are humans, and therefore we are in the crosshairs of being tricked. So better to be tricked by those who love us and are here in our experience of life to help us and to support our highest and greatest good. So yeah, no such thing as false light. Yeah. Oh, it spun me out again. I'm trying to really, really hard to go in order of your your comments. I don't miss anything, but sometimes I do. Um, where did I leave off? Okay. Oh, hi, Belinda. I don't think I said hi to you yet. Um, Hi, Jen. Hi, Nancy. I'm sorry if I missed the hello. Sometimes it spins me and then I see, and then I'm like, did I say hello to them yet? I don't know. I see, I don't see your name, but I see someone sharing that it's their first time here. Welcome. Welcome. Um, Bree is saying she didn't realize that Megan Watterson had that deck. Yeah, let me show that again in case you missed it. This is the deck I pulled from Megan Watterson, the Divine Feminine Oracle deck. I mostly know of her from her work with Mary Magdalene, but I do love this deck too. Oh, is it Mama Niece is here for first time. I'm glad you're here. Um, Molly's asking a question. Let's see if this is going to be a short one or a post-it one. She's asking, when we die, do we become part of our oversoul or reconnect with other soul fractals? Do we stay at this consciousness with just more knowledge we don't have as humans? Okay, super great question. Totally could be either short or long. Let's see. Short answer now. Okay. Also long answer. Nope. Just short answer now. Okay. Um, Kind of brain melty. I'll warn you. That's a term if you're new here. Get used to me using that word because that is what I refer to when they give me something where it's just like I struggle with it. It's brain melty for me. And I've had a lot of experience like working with this content. So if it's brain melty for me, it's going to be brain melty for you. So I'm always like, "Oh, really?" Let me just do my best here. Okay, for one thing, um it's not linear. So it's not like we have one life and then we die and we go back to the heavenly realm and we regroup and then we go back to earth again and then I mean, we they're saying it's not incorrect to imagine it like that. But what's actually happening is time all happens at the same time. There is no linear time. We experience it as linear experience because that is the only way that our brain can kind of essentially slow down enough to have growth at the soul level. We we can't when we're talking about the soul, growth can only happen if there's linear time. Like there has to be a before and an after to show growth. I'm just listening if there's something else they want to say about that. So that's why we have to experience life as linear time. And that's why our souls grow as a function of experiencing life on earth, which has linear time. They're asking me to pull out my teaching tool, my handy teaching tool. And again, I'm going to give a little shout out to Paris and Dublin. Paris is open for registration. Paris is coming up in just less than 6 weeks, 5 weeks now. So if you want to go deep into spiritualism and the work of Hilma af Klint and what this means to us, and if you want to spend a couple days with me in Paris in a real small group, we're going to be like Carrie's going to be there. We're going to uh, uh Marina's gonna be there. Jody's gonna be there. Bring your rods. Like we're going to have intimate time together. But anyway, back to this painting. So this is by Hilma af Klint. This the original painting is probably 8 or 10 feet tall. This is what they gave me as a tool to explain to you about multiple lives versus linear time. So what you can imagine, and I'm going to do this kind of quickly because many of you have heard this before. So imagine that the bottom of this pyramid here is how we experience Earth time. So the first day of life one, the last day of life one, the first day of life two, the last day of life two, the first day of life three, the last day of life three. You can also imagine that the center line is our present moment. We are here right now. We're in the center line. And then everything to the side of that, it's future lives. So, we're going to die in this life and then we come back again and so on. So that is how we are meant to think, to feel, to imagine. If we imagine, okay, multiple lives, that's kind of a way to imagine it. But the truth is, once we're off earth, when we're talking about the soul journey, we're actually moving this way. We're not moving this way, we're moving this way. So everything is happening at the same time. We're in this moment, this present moment. But when we grow, when we have experiences, like this one, maybe, I don't know, something that opens our mind to something that we maybe had previously limited, or we previously fell for like propaganda, but we have an opportunity to either learn something new that we can feel that yes, we feel the yes, and so we stay open to it. Or maybe it's kind of an unlearning thing. So many of us had to unlearn religious teachings that we were raised with and so on. So every time you do that, every single time you open your mind and open your heart to a new experience, you are pushing your timeline up this way. Similarly, anytime you accept fear or you fall for propaganda that is so obviously false, or they're giving me the example of you vote for a political candidate because your church told you to, and you just blindly did it. Those are the things that prevent you, that hold you down, wherever that it's I'm just listening. A lot of people get stuck on a plateau. And a lot of the reasons you get stuck is because you fall for the tricks that human, opposing forces, which are humans, um, have, im- used as strategy. I'm just listening. Again, thank you for your patience. So one thing you'll notice about these live sessions is sometimes I have to pause and listen and make sure I'm telling the lesson correctly. When you just see the pre-recorded videos, you get to miss all that. It's just like, I know what I'm saying. Um, they're saying we're not done with this yet. So the whole point is to grow as a soul. You don't have to believe in God. There's no correct religion. Every single religion is an attempt to explain the unexplainable, and the unexplainable actually can be summarized very simply, which is we are here, we're somewhere here, we're traveling this way, and this is a game. This is the game board, and this is winning. This is where we're headed. But we don't head there by following a bunch of rules. We head there and we arrive there by feeling that yes in our body, opening ourselves to new experiences, growing as a soul, having hard conversations, making hard choices. They're showing me, like, some of you might have to go no contact with family members, for example, maybe because of your spiritual growth, maybe because they've disrespected you your whole life and you're not going to take it anymore. My family experienced that last year. Okay, I won't bother going into detail, but just to know, if you have members of your family that you are no contact, and maybe you have a really specific reason, and maybe the reason is just a lifetime of disrespect. A lifetime of disrespect. That is an example of a choice to go no contact with someone who has disrespected you your whole life. That is an example of calling upon your inner darkness, that healthy part of you that's just like, no, that is not okay. It's the part of you that says, I don't care if they're my parent or my sibling. They have disrespected me my whole life, and I'm not going to accept it. That's an example of calling upon our darkness. So to win the game, you cannot win the game by being love and light. This is not all love and light. If you are only love and light, and when you see people who are like sort of that toxic positivity, and they just really don't want to acknowledge any dark side, they're not going to win the game. You have to be balanced to win the game. Lilith is coming through right now. She is known for being balanced light. And the reason that she's balanced light, I will always give a shout out to Stephanie because she channeled this that I just stuck in my brain. Lilith was asked, through Stephanie's channel, Lilith was asked, why is she considered balanced light? Because she's considered a dark goddess. And her answer was that you can't be balanced until you fully accept your darkness. You have to accept all of you, both sides of every coin, your light and your darkness. And that is what enables you to move up, 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 up. Because the last thing I'll say before I put this back is even though all these lives are happening all the same time, we have hundreds, many of us have thousands of lives. that are technically happening at the same time. But we are in this moment, in the middle, in the present moment. And when we, make that choice to grow, or we make that hard choice to go no contact because that is the right choice for our soul, we push upwards. And not only do we push this timeline upwards, it's like we bring the whole timeline with us. The whole timeline, instead of being flat, it ends up being angled. It pulls up as we are in this present moment, and we make choices, and we always prioritize our highest and greatest good. We don't fall for the propaganda. We don't vote for someone just because our church told us to. What? So those are the choices that make us go higher and higher, and then ultimately connect with source. That's what this is. We connect with source, we win the game, and then we get to choose the next game. So anyway, that was a kind of a tangent. So I'm going to put this back and get back to Molly's question. That was not a short answer, by the way, but they just wanted me to go right into that. So, and then we're going to do the show and tell. So the short answer is, after the long one, is that we do reconnect. They're saying, yes, we do reconnect. We kind of rejoin. One of the terms that I can't take credit for this. A friend of mine uses this term. She uses the term God soup. And my Pantheon says, yeah, that's a really good way to say it. So when we die, we kind of go back to God soup, where we are individual still. We are still a soul traveling through the game. But when we complete any given life, we go back, we go to the heavenly realm, we regroup, we rest, we have our life review, we really dig into what did we do well in that life? And also, like, where did we kind of drop the ball? What do we need to work on next time? So that's an important part of the process. Our Oversoul, they did want me to comment on Oversoul. I wonder if I can find it. Last year they had me put together a little slideshow to explain explain the difference between Oversoul and higher self. So let me see if I can find it to share that with you, because we haven't talked about that in a long time. Here it is. Okay. Got my trusty iPad. All right. Let me give you this lesson quick. Here we are. I'm just going to try not to get too much glare. Here we are, a soul, right? Soul. And then we've got our lineage patron. Now, if you're brand new here, I'm listening to be explained. Okay. Short story of lineage patron is that each and every one of us is of a lineage, one of 9 lineages. They are the Council of 9. I will list them for you. Source: Prometheus, Lilith, Isis, Persephone, Hercules, Apollo, Enki, Hecate. Those are the 9. So if you are a human soul, if you are a soul having a human experience, you have a lineage patron that is one of those 9. So then, let me keep going. Then there's also highest power. That the word I use for highest power is source. Some people say God. You can say Shiva. You can say Mother Earth. You can say whatever you want. But the point is, within this framework, there is a highest power that sits above the Council of 9. And again, I use the word source. So each of those things are three separate entities. You are a soul having a human experience. You have a lineage patron, and then we all have a highest power that we get to name, but it's the same highest power. Now, let me show you. The Oversoul is okay, hang on. I messed up my animation. Hang on. There we go. All right. We're back. So we've got the 3. Now, getting to Oversoul. First there's the higher self. higher self is a combination of our lineage patron and our soul. I often think of my higher self as the version of me that has already lived all my lives. But it's actually, from a technical perspective, it's a combination of our soul, who has lived all our lives, and our lineage patron. So we can tap into our higher self, and that's a really wise version of our soul to tap into. Now, there's also Oversoul, and that was defined to me as a combination of our lineage patron and our highest power. So I am of the lineage of Lilith. So for me, my Oversoul is a combination of Lilith and Source. So that's how that works. And so then you can just kind of see our lineage patron is in both of those. So our lineage patron is really important to us. I don't remember if I have any more points to make, but you get it. So that's what Oversoul is. That's my little lesson. I haven't gone through that in a little while. All right. And the last bit that they want to add, Molly, is when we go to the heavenly realm, we remember, like when we are born into each and every one of these lifetimes as humans, we are born forgetting. And so this journey, another way to define this journey is that this is the journey of remembering. This is the journey of remembering. We come in as a fresh slate, clean slate, and we have to remember ourselves as sparks of source. We have to remember that we have light and darkness. We have to remember that we've got that inner yes. We are that spark of source. We have to remember that it doesn't matter what the outside sources say. It doesn't matter what the Bible says. If the Bible feeds your soul, if you find joy in the Bible, great. But the Bible was made by humans, not made by God. And even though there are some very important truths in there, there are some very harmful lies as well. So don't know how we got on the subject of Bible. Though they remind me, I still have my Bible sitting next to me. I don't know if we have any guests here who might be tempted to accuse me of blasphemy. But I just want you to know that I was raised Christian. I tried. I was taught the Bible, literally this Bible. This is my textbook. I don't know if I did. I don't think I marked much on the inside of it, but I sure marked plenty on the outside. Look at all my flair, my stickers, my Jesus. Oops, upside down. Jesus. I tried. And I will say that now that I connect with Yeshua, I do have a relationship with him. He's absolutely in my heart, which is so ironic now, because growing up, I was just like, I would roll my eyes to the back of my head every time I would hear them say, all you got to do is ask Jesus into your heart. And I'd be like, whatever. With that, he's the one saying, how about the show and tell? Now seems like a good time to get into the show and tell. Now, if you were with me on the meditation class last Friday, you already saw this. This was the sphere that is essentially considered to be an offering. So let me give you some background, where this came from and why I collect it. This came from Tula, Hidalgo, Mexico. I visited there in person in January this year. I met a friend that I only knew from TikTok, who is a fourth generation Tula. Not really. I guess I shouldn't say archaeologist, because it's not like they went to graduate school. They live there and they dig stuff up out of the ground. That's what they do. So the thing about what comes out of the ground in Tula, Mexico, is that they have aliens all over them, because Tula was the birthplace of the Toltecs, and the Toltecs were Atlantean. They came from Atlantis. So they were, if you were with me on TikTok, we were just talking. Let me just do a real quick recap. What came through on the TikTok live an hour ago was they went into detail on the resets that we've had on Earth and how aliens fit into those different resets. So let me just do a super fast recap. The first versions of Earth had aliens reside, like living on the Earth along with humans. That worked well for a while, but then for one thing, that's when Enki kind of, jumped the gun, enhanced our DNA, got us consciousness, but there were some trade-offs. And so one of the trade-offs ended up being that these advanced humans, what we know of ourselves today, immediately like fell deep into worship of the aliens that were, living alongside us. And that wasn't okay. That caused problems, that caused imbalance. So that led to reset. We had a big Earth reset. All the aliens were sent away. Those that weren't sent away were wiped out or attempted to. Some escaped. So that was the first version of Earth. There was a second version of aliens and Earth, and that was when the aliens came as advisors. They didn't live on the Earth, but they would visit in the flesh, like in a physical body. Sometimes they would look like humans, and sometimes they would look like aliens, but they would come from the sky and bestow wisdom and give gifts. That's where a lot of the gods, the history of gods comes today. They literally came to Earth. But once again, that was problematic. That became there was still a lot of worshiping that happened, and it became competitive. So communities, instead of being collaborative, they got into, competition of, my God's better than your God. This is from that era. This is an object that was made from, I'm just listening. This was made to honor the era where Quetzalcoatl would come in physical form to give them gifts, to solve their problems. And so now I'm going to show you more detail of I hope that the lighting works for you to see. Let me get oriented here because Quetzalcoatl is on here. It's so interesting. There's a lot of overlap with the Egyptian pantheon as well. And I'm trying to remind myself if Anubis is on here. Anubis is on a lot. Okay, there's Quetzalcoatl and his wings. Okay. All right. Do you see? This is his head in profile. So that's his head, his skull, and then his face. And then I don't know yet what these sort of big ear, like this big discs on their ears. My pantheon thinks it's hilarious and fascinating to see my human brain try to find meaning in these symbols. So they haven't told me a lot. They tell me they will, but they're just letting me kind of explore. So anyway, we've got Quetzalcoatl's head, and then we've got his wings. See, he's got two wings. See those lines? Those are his wings. So that's Quetzalcoatl, which again is of the parentage of Enki, but the lineage now of Hercules. I want to show you that he's holding an ankh. So can you see that? See the ankh shaped carved in there? And then his hand, that's his hand. So again, to orient you, there's his head, his hand, and his holding an ankh sideways. Sorry, this is real heavy, so I can't. It's hard to point at. Point at the same time. Where am I? Oh, that's another. So that's the ankh. He's holding it sideways. Some of the things have the ankh sideways, but many, like this one is upright. So the ankh itself represents a gift. There's one more thing I wanted to show you on here. Two more things to show you. Here's one thing to show you. Can you see that? Can you see how it looks like a spaceship? See the spaceship? So this is like the bottom of the spaceship. This is the top domed part of the spaceship. Sorry, it's not mirrored for me, so I'm in trouble. And then there's like rays. So that's a spaceship. And then the last detail I want to show you is, if you're familiar with the boogosphere, can you see that? I'm trying to get the light to reflect it. Can you see the boogosphere shape? The circle with the square and the lines and the dots. So this sphere itself, and can you tell, I forget the fluorite, I think they call it, but it's like a huge, like an agate, or maybe it's considered a crystal. I don't know, but it's beautiful. It's got a lot of color, purple, green. And then let me show you one more thing. Do you see on this this is another angle of the boogosphere detail. There's four little circles that look sort of like pink colored. Though I don't know what the material is, but they glow. They're like bioluminescent. So if I had a black light and if it was dark, they would light up. So what they will confirm to me with me is that this was an object of offering. So I'm hearing them say that it would have been like maybe in a wealthy person's home, because this is very particularly special. But they're saying not necessarily like in a temple, but in like a wealthy person's home, to honor the history of Quetzalcoatl, to acknowledge that he walked the earth. They didn't carve these things to represent a metaphor. They carved to preserve the literal history of literally Quetzalcoatl walked the earth in ancient times. So there's a treasure trove of these objects in Tula that depict aliens, because they literally walked the earth there. Now, here's the interesting thing. I mean, it's, I guess, good for me, but it also bums me out that Mexico does not acknowledge aliens as a legitimate part of the history. So, because this has aliens on it, this is not considered a legitimate artifact. I don't know what they think it is, but it's why I'm able to collect these things. I'm able to purchase them and have them shipped to me. You're not supposed to be able to buy artifacts and take them out of the country, but Mexico's like, go ahead. It's got aliens on it. We're not interested. So I'm growing my collection, and I in fact, I have another box to pick up today. That's what I'm doing right after this. I'm going to go over to my my PO box and get my package. I was just hearing something come through. Hang on. Oh, I guess it wasn't from them. It was my human memory. I was talking to my husband, and he's just like, there's a lot of boxes coming in, like kind of like, how many of these artifacts do you really need? And I'm just like, I don't know, but maybe I'll start a museum someday. I actually do have kind of a bit of a dream, to either be able to put my collection on display, or I said to my husband, I'm like, or I'll just put in my will that I want all of these things sent back to Tula, and I'll sponsor a museum. Wouldn't that be nice? Wouldn't that be nice if I could be in a position at the end of my life where I could bequeath my collection of artifacts back to Tula, along with funding for a museum? I'm putting that out there as an intention. I'd love for that to be a reality, because I wish we all could go to Tula Hidalgo and see these things in a museum. There is a museum there, but they don't show aliens. They show Quetzalcoatl, but not depicting him with wings, which he had. In fact, they're asking me to pull this off the wall and show you this one. because this is Quetzalcoatl also in the Ankh, obviously. But here's Quetzalcoatl. Again, this is a straight on view. Alien head. See that? Clearly alien head. 2 arms, 2 legs, 2 wings. That was Quetzalcoatl. There's also throughout all of this, there's a lot of symbolism of like DNA and then like things that look kind of like feet or like this looks like a foot. Um, One of the things that Quetzalcoatl came to tell humans is to stop doing human sacrifices. And so sometimes when you see like a foot, it can be a reference to a human sacrifice, but this is Quetzalcoatl. So it wouldn't have been like promoting. If anything, it might have been saying to do practice, to do something instead of a human sacrifice or like a foot. I don't know. That was weird. All right. I will show you also on the back of this is a different uh, another alien, but this is a deity that's always shown with a tail instead of wings. So Quetzalcoatl has got the wings, and then this counterpart has got the sort of snake or reptilian tail. So I'm still the full story is still coming through. I will say one more little shout out to joining me in Minneapolis. For one thing, I am going to bring some of my artifacts to our venue. Each day I'll have different ones. Um, but the whole event is called the Architecture of Being Human, and the whole curriculum, like what we're going to learn over the weekend, is like more of this stuff. Like a little bit of the history, but like, how do we fit into this bigger picture? The whole event is called the Architecture of Being Human. As I said, it's the architecture of being human, and I'm still getting the content. There's a lot that I don't know. They just told me that's what it's called. They kind of gave me the outline, but it'll be interesting. Okay, they're telling me now to go back to the comments. I hope you enjoyed our show and tell for today. um Tyler, I see your really good question about what constitutes worship. Is loving them too much considered worship? Is there such a thing as too much love? Let me tune into what they want me to say about that. The short answer is no. There's not too much. There's not such a thing as too much love. We are programmed to feel love. Um, as I was saying, growing up, I went to a Christian high school and I went to like church camp and all this stuff. I was constantly given messages like I was saying earlier, like all you got to do is ask Jesus into your heart. And I can't even tell you how many times I'm like, okay. And like there's one in particular, I won't bother with the story again, but you've heard me tell the story. Like there's one particular moment that really stands out in my head, and it just felt like if he was ever going to come in, he'd like that was the time. And so I'm like, all right, Jesus, hit me. And then he didn't. Like it was like nothing. I got nothing. And so like from then on, I'm just like, maybe for some people, maybe some people can just ask Jesus into their heart, but not me. And so, but here's what I want to say. After my spiritual awakening, after I started building these relationships with these deities, I have felt overwhelming love for, I mean, the whole pantheon, the whole system. But I mean, some deities more than others. Like Hercules, for example, the first time he came in, I was weepy. Like I was overwhelmed with loving emotion. Like I was tearing because it just was this physical sensation of love that I'd never felt quite like that before. That's Hercules. And um maybe some of you have had that. For some reason, Hercules specifically is like makes people cry. I don't know why. So he brought me back to that memory because of your question, Tyler. That literally love, like there's going to be times when we can't turn it off. Like Hercules might come to you and you're just going to feel overwhelmed with love. You wouldn't be able to turn off that love if you tried. The difference though is worship. Um a big piece of it is how altars are designed. I mean, it literally goes down to our physical arrangement when we're working with our deities. So, for example, in the old days, in the old versions of Earth, and also in old, controlling versions of organized religion, there, you know, uh, lots of religions have altars, and it's always like in front of you, right? You're worshiping to the altar. Like you're the lowly human and you're praying to the altar, who is this, higher God that you owe something to. That's also sort of an underlying thing about worship. The word worship versus love is worship is sort of like an exchange. Like you're worshiping a deity in order to get to heaven or in order to be blessed with abundance, something like that. Worship is like quid pro quo, you're going to worship and you're going to get something back. Love should not be that way. Love is just love. Like love isn't loving in order to go to heaven. Love is just an experience of love. So they want to make that point. Back to what they do want. So they don't want us to pray to an altar. They don't want us to be caught up in any version of propaganda that says we have to do something in this lifetime in order to earn something for what comes next. There's nothing to earn. Zero. Nothing to earn. There's nothing that's going to disqualify us from the heavenly realm. So not only is there nothing to earn, there's no risk of, either accidentally or on purpose losing what we don't have to earn. We all are invited to the heavenly realm. Now, not everyone accepts the invitation. You've heard me say that before, but no one is excluded. Just listening. Okay, they just want me to wrap this question with a comment about how they taught me to set up my altar. And I will say, when I first got the message of set up an altar, I was like, ew, altar. I don't like the sound of that. That sounds worshipy. And they're like, not what you're thinking. We're going to teach you how to do a new kind of altar. So they did. And so my altar and the way I teach it, level 2, is when you learn how to make your altar, we sit in a circle. We're not praying. I'm not praying to, something above me. I'm sitting in a circle with my Pantheon. And my Pantheon includes Source. So I'm sitting in a circle with Source. I'm sitting in a circle with my highest power, as well as my divine family and my extended Pantheon. We sit in a circle and we all work towards the middle, where I have a pyramid and I have objects and so on that represent my intentions. But my Pantheon and we don't worship anyone, but we do focus our loving thoughts towards the intention. So that's what they wanted me to say about that. Thanks for the great question, Tyler. All right, I will put this on it to post it. It's the type of thing that I don't love to answer, but I will, and I'll go like at least 20 more minutes. I mean, I have now 3 post-its, so I will keep going. I appreciate those of you who hang in with me on these supersized Fridays. What was taxes? I'm going to just put taxes ? We'll see if we get to that. All right. Taryn's saying a lot of people filing taxes but not paying them this year as a form of protest. Yeah, I don't know. I've thought about that. I don't know. Yeah. Yeah. I'm just seeing your comments. I won't read all of them out loud, but I'm seeing them. Thank you. Rebecca, I don't know if maybe I'm so far behind that this came up before I said it, but you're asking, do we belong to any Pantheon members as individuals by origin? Yes. So let me say that again. We all are of the lineage of a lineage of the one of the Council of Nine. So once again, I'm gonna come. Oh, there it is. The Council of Nine. Here's my little visual reference. This is the Council of Nine. Oops, sorry. This is the Council of Nine. So Source is the only one without a rendering that looks human. But this is Source, Prometheus, Lilith, Isis, Persephone, Hercules, Apollo, Enki, Hecate. And they do actually go in these sets of three, and this column, Source, Isis, and Apollo, are like the three leaders. So it's like three teams of three. Source leads Team Balance, which is Source, Prometheus, and Lilith. Isis is Team Humanity with Persephone and Hercules, and then Apollo is Team Earth with Enki and Hecate. And if you saw yesterday's video, you know that Enki, or I'm sorry, well, you know that Enki and, this wasn't yesterday's video, but the previous video, Enki and Hecate are divine partners, and Apollo and Gaia are divine partners. So that's the answer. You were all one of those nine. I'm Lilith, and also Lilith is of the Isis lineage. So Isis is actually in my grandmother position. So there's also layers, and kind of complicated. But if you're really into this and you're not in what we call Adult Swim yet, the membership levels where we have lives Mondays and Wednesdays, you might want to join. Yeah. Oh, I'm way behind in the comments. I only just now got to your comments about Nikola Tesla. So I see you like, I just got like, wow, Nikola Tesla, wow. Yeah, I was blown away by that. Yeah. Oh, real quick, back to the lineage. Sorry that I'm just going in chronological order, so I'm bouncing a little bit. How do we decipher our lineage? Tune in. I mean, that's kind of like a hard answer, but if you do my meditation practice, that's how it all came into me. Is the more I did meditation, the more clarity I received. I don't want to sound like a commercial, but it's something that I do in my private sessions. We can figure out your divine family, and we can meet your angels and get renderings and all of that. You don't have to, you don't have to do it with me. You can just learn it by yourself. But yeah. Yeah. Oh, he says Tesla must not like that Musk destroyed his name with a crappy car. Yeah. There's a lot of like, oh, poor Tesla. Yeah. Oh, I see this question. Is Yeshua incarnated as a human in our current lifetime? No. Mm-mm. Mm-mm. Will there be motherships in mountain areas? Yeah, they say oceans and mountains. So, and then again, they're going to, in addition to the 7 to 9 motherships that will stay stationary, there will be tons of auxiliary ships, smaller ships that'll be moving around and in other places. So the motherships are only going to be in very certain places, but the auxiliary ships are going to move all around. They say that probably everyone's going to see some ship at some point. And again, I invite you to use your own discernment. We heard that last year too, but it does feel different now. Yeah. Let's see. Was Yeshua also Buddha? That is kind of a trick question. They're both embodied of Christ or what formerly known as Christ consciousness. Yes, we call it now unity consciousness. So let me just ask that with the rods. Is it correct to say, was Yeshua also Buddha? No answer. So that means not a no, but not a yes. So was Buddha also an instance of ascended master Yeshua? Yeah. Okay. So they're not identical. It's not correct to say they are the same, but They are that both Yeshua on the earth and Buddha on the earth were lifetimes of the same ascended master, which now we know of as ascended master Yeshua. So kinda yes, kinda no. Um, yeah. I see Jessica's comment about saying Yeshua was Tesla warms your heart. Yeah. Um, I see Robin's question. This feels like a short one. Does the Council of Nine have something to do with the recent disclosure of new medical advances like a cancer vaccine and an enzyme to prevent heart disease? Yes, they're saying yes. They're saying short answer, yes. Super interesting. Um, Ronnie is asking about the Loki series on Disney. Is that a good representation of timelines and timeline manipulations? Yes. Short answer, yes, Ronnie. All right. It spun me out again. I'm sorry, I lost my place. Um, and again, thank you. I am seeing, I'm not reading everything out loud, but I do really appreciate your comments. All right. Found my place. I'm back in business. Um, mm, they want me to answer this one. Are we jumping timelines as a collective or only individually? So it's both. It's yes and yes. And then is the government influencing this through the Large Hadron Collider? No. That's a short answer, no. Mhm. Um, thank you. Yeah, I see like what's an example of a trick? Then Taryn answered question. Great answer, Taryn. Thank you for that. Um, Venky's asking, so what can we do not to be so stupid and ruin the world again? Well, the aliens are coming to help us. That's one thing they have not done before. They have never just come to show their presence and to communicate truths to us without like walking, as human, not human, well, sometimes as humans, but as beings. So that's they're trying something new. And meanwhile, our job is to just continue to open our hearts, to choose love, to be open, to reject fear, to reject propaganda, to look for the yes in our body, to trust ourselves over and above anybody else. And that's you, including me. So don't trust me. Don't believe me unless your inner truth agrees. You and I might not be on the same timeline. I mean, I hope you're on my timeline because I'm on the highest and greatest timeline. I'm on the new earth timeline. I'm on the mothership's timeline. You might not be because again, as we just heard, there's a collective timeline and individual timelines. So we can be on the same collective timeline while being on individual separate ones. All right. Yep, I see Earth is a God school. Earth is soul school is how I would rephrase that. But yeah. Mhm, mhm. Um, Here's a question. How can I have a spontaneous awakening? Do I just need to let go of fear? How did it happen? And was I spiritual before? I called myself spiritual, but not religious, but I was not. I mean, I had very low patience for woo woo. I got to the point of being medium woo woo, but I was not super religious. I did find myself like I went to Sedona before the first time I was in Sedona was well before my spiritual awakening. So I was drawn to places and things, but I didn't really have it's like I still had a filter that was preventing me from realizing kind of the significance. Um, the only thing that the best advice I can give you if you want to have a spiritual awakening is to be open, to be open. I did a QHHT session early on. So that felt really significant for me. I did it in person. You also now can do it online. At the time I was looking, I wasn't finding anyone who's doing it online. So that's another thing you can do to really touch in with your higher self. My higher self gave me very specific advice that then ended up being essential for what ended up triggering my spiritual, or like, I mean, it's hard to really put timing on it, like what happened first, but um all of it, it's cumulative, it's synergistic. The more you do, the more you open to ideas and energies, then the more your life is going to change. And then what I'll say to that is meditation, meditation, meditation. And I can't tell you how annoyed I was when I was first getting that as a download. I'm like, I'm not a meditator. I've tried every kind and nothing works for me. And they're like, until now. And so they gave me a channeled method of meditation that I now teach twice a month and I do every single day. And I know some of you who have had the biggest awakenings yourself, you do it every day. Like Stephanie, if you've seen Stephanie channel, she channels. She wasn't always a channel. This is a relatively new gift for her, but she meditates every day. She does this practice every day. And that is what propels you forward. So it doesn't have to be the method I teach. If you've got a method that already works for you, great. I didn't. And so the method I teach, it's weird. Those of you who have done it, you know, it's weird, but it's also why it works. We use our bodies, we use our voice, and most importantly, we set an intention before we start. We choose a deity to call in to help us bring our intention to life, and then we use the meditation method to merge. Not only do we merge energy from above and energy below through all of our chakras, we also bring in our intention into all of our chakras, and we bring in the assistance that we're calling in into our chakras. So we establish ourselves as a strong core of integrated energies with intention and support. So that's what it takes. If you do nothing else but do meditation every single day, and especially if you do the version I teach, if you did nothing else, your life would change. And I teach it for free. I'm not trying to make money. Well, you have to be in the membership, but you only have to do the Zoom version a couple times. Maybe some of you can chime in. Uh, I don't know. I've never really asked. Like, how many times did you have to do it with me guiding you before you could flip over to Spotify and do it without me guiding you? But that is the objective. You should only have to do it a couple times with me on Zoom. And then you can do it the exact way I do it, which is I go to Spotify, I call up the track I feel like using that day, and the track it's designed to lead you through it. So yeah. Thanks for being here and thanks for asking that question. All right. I'm going to keep going. We have 3 Post-its that I plan to get to, and I'm still far behind on your comments. I'm going to do my best to kind of at least get through them. And any Post-its that we don't get to today, I'll save for next Friday. We're going to do this every Friday. So we don't have to feel like we're in a rush. All right. Yeah. I'm zipping ahead, looking for anything that my team might want to talk about. Um, now I'm at the point in your comments where when I was mentioning going no contact. Thank you for those of you who are either validating or just sharing that you have gone no contact, guided by the divine. Yeah. Um, it's hard. It's hard to go no contact, but don't let anyone tell you that God wants you to stay in communication with your mother. No, God, your highest power, wants you to be sovereign and respected. And it doesn't matter if someone is your parent, your sibling, doesn't matter. If they have given you a lifetime of disrespect, they don't deserve any more of your energy. They don't deserve it. That's from source. That's from God. Don't let anyone make you think that the Bible tells you, such and such, and therefore that's the truth. No. Nope. Mm-mm. Um, yeah. Okay. We're coming in for a landing a little bit. Thank you for those of you who are still with me. If you've been with me all day, it's a lot. We're like headed towards the 3-hour mark in total. Um, yeah. Thank you. Thank you, Erin, for your sharing. Um, yeah. Thank you for those of you sharing about deconstruction. Sometimes you don't need a spiritual awakening, like a experience like I had. Sometimes it's sometimes for some of us, it's really like kind of studious, we read and we think and you know, yeah. Um, yeah. Um, Thank you again. Thanks for waiting for me as I'm reading your comments. Um, I really like this question from Elsa. She says, when someone comes in with a sole purpose that plan goes off in a bad sense, does Source know they will fail and allows this life to go forward because it will be part of the soul's journey? No, that's the fascinating thing. Nothing is written in stone. Source did not know if you're going to fail. I just spilled my coffee. Source does not know if you're going to be successful or failure because you have every single lifetime you have free will. Now, that being said, I'm hearing Source say, you know, some patterns are really predictable, certain lifetimes and certain souls are more likely to just repeat old patterns. That is what we're struggling with today. A lot of people are stuck. The metaphor that Dolores Cannon uses in her books is the hamster wheel. We're stuck on a hamster wheel. Using this again, some of us are stuck. We're like plateaued. We're not. Some people are off. You can be off the board too. There are definitely people who are so deeply enmeshed in the dark. Well, remember, I'd only use that word being very specifically, but so they don't like they didn't mean dark in that case. Let me rephrase. If a human makes choice after choice that harm other humans, they're going to keep sinking down and down, and they can be off the board. There is an off the board, but it's not hell, by the way. It's not hell because we're talking about life. We're talking about living life on earth. So you can have a lifetime on earth it is hell on earth. You're so mired in selfishness and harming others that you can't get a foothold. Now, but what can also happen is you can be up here and just plateaued. Like you're not harming anyone, but you're not doing any work to grow, to expand, to get, closer to source. So again, Dolores Cannon uses the term hamster wheel. The metaphor that they've given me that's kind of the same but different is a record player, like a skipping record player, where imagine this imagine this is a big record. This is the middle of the record. This is the first track of the record. This is track 1, track 2. So each track of the record, you get closer to the middle, right? Think of a record player. The needle is moving closer and closer to the middle. So that's what's supposed to happen. We're supposed to have these lifetimes and we're supposed to learn and grow. And each time we get closer and closer to source. But because we're in our current timeline, our current history point on earth, where it's like a perfect storm. We've got opposing forces actively preventing us from making progress because it's against their best interests. They would rather have us be down here and controllable, weak and afraid. That's what makes us controllable. So we've got opposing forces doing things that push us down, and including toxins in our food, water, and air. So physically, so spiritually, maybe you think of this, and physically, we no longer have the abilities that we were designed to have, that were meant to help us on this journey. So again, we're stuck. Not all. If you're here, you're probably not stuck, but you might have been only recently unstuck. You might have been recently unstuck from that skipping record. And maybe it's just like, it's like knocking the side of the record player. You just bump the record player and you're like, okay, you're off to the next track again. Or metaphor, they're saying that is like, they're even showing me like, you find me on YouTube. And it's just like enough to be like, what? Aliens are real? Gods are real? Like, what? So maybe that's all you need, is just someone like me saying, "Hey, what if, imagine that this might be true for you." Sometimes though, they're saying like, we have to pick up the needle and like clean it off, very carefully put it back down. They're saying that that's the metaphor from Elsa's question of like, if a lifetime just goes totally off the rails, and the soul had the best of intentions when they chose that life, but they just couldn't make it work. So sometimes that's the needle kind of getting cleaned off. Sometimes that person just needs to end that life, get back to the heavenly realm, kind of regroup, reset, it's kind of like unplug, unplug, reboot, and then try again. So that's what they wanted me to say about that. I'm still catching up with your comments. I see the question. I think I answered this probably after you typed it, but I'm of the Lilith lineage. And why not show you her rendering? Where is she? Once again, I have. Well, I'll keep talking as I look for her. Here she is. Here's Goddess Lilith. All of the members of my pantheon, with the exception of Isis, have both alien and God expressions. Here's alien Lilith. So when I say I'm of the Lilith lineage, that's who I mean. She's my special. She's in my mother position also, for those of you who know what that means. Okay. Yeah. Thank you again for just hanging out with me today. I love reading your comments. I'm trying to do it quickly since we're coming up on the top of the hour already. Oh, I see a lot of you saying your Lilith lineage. Yeah. Yeah. I see some of you suggesting sessions with me. Thank you. Again, I'm kind of like, I just don't want this to sound like a commercial, especially with the private sessions. I really don't talk about that very often, but I do want you to know that's an option. I love working with people one-on-one, and I sure wish I reached out to multiple people when I was really struggling, when this was all new to me. I reached out to people like authors of books, even someone I knew in real life. And I was like, I will pay you. Can I name your price? Let me pay you to help me with this. And I could not find anyone. So, it's important to me to be available to you on a one-on-one basis if you feel drawn to that. You don't need to. You don't need to at all. But I'm here for you if you feel called. Back to the thank you, fluorite. Yeah, someone's confirming. Lacey is confirming. Looks like fluorite. Yes, that is fluorite. It's heavy. Just wanted to bring it back in the. Is there anything I didn't show you yet? Oh, this is look, I didn't show you this side. See this like bird face? kind of, but it's not Quetzalcoatl. Quetzalcoatl is the bird serpent god, but this is a different one, but it does remind me of Horus from the Egyptian pantheon. I don't know. I don't know if it really is supposed to be, but um uh oh yeah, it um thank you. Just one more comment about private sessions. There's people out there that pretend to be me and they might message you and offer you a reading. I will never ever do that. If you get a message from me saying, "Hey, do you want a reading?" No, not me. The only way I don't do readings. I don't call them readings. I just call them private sessions. If you want a download on your behalf, we can do that. I can just like channel for you. I can do that. But that's not what we usually do. We usually talk. We usually like meet your angels. Maybe if you're drawn to that, we definitely will meet your divine family. I send you a PDF afterwards with all their renderings and they're labeled. Didn't do whatever, but yeah, if someone reaches out to you directly, it's not me. You have to come to me and you have to come to my website, divinemagic.com. That's the only way you can get link to make an appointment. Oh, Lauren's saying a medium you worked with said Father, Mother, God. I actually the pastor that officiated my wedding, he didn't say it at the time, but now I've heard him say Father, Mother, God. Father, Mother, God, and he is a pastor. Obviously not traditional anymore, but yeah. Okay, we're getting there. We're getting there. I'm almost caught up, and then I will do a speed round, a couple of these post-its, and then we'll say goodbye. You're saying someone commented on Lilith's dragon. This is Lilith herself is the queen, she's the mother of dragons, and her dragon is the leader of the dragons. So, yeah. And I didn't know that when I was working with her on this project. I didn't know, well, I knew she was the mother of dragons. So I was not surprised when she asked me yeah, I think she did ask me to put a prompt in the AI. 'Cause a lot of these details, they do by themselves. They just tell me the basics to put into the AI prompt. So Lilith said, put dragon, like with a dragon. But then Lilith did all and her dragon did all the details. So yeah. Okay. 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 Mm, mm, mhm, mhm, mhm. Thank you, thank you, thank you for sticking with me. Um, yeah, office hours tomorrow. Thank you for the reminder. Ronnie's gonna be in the hot seat. Ronnie, you're gonna be first. Um, Not that it's a hot seat. I'm happy, but yeah, that's what we do. And just again, I'm starting like a commercial. Um, if you choose to join the membership level called Immersion, we do office hours once a month, and that's tomorrow. How heavy is the artifact? Very heavy, very heavy, very heavy. Way heavier than it looks. I don't know. I'm not a great judge of weight, but I'd say, I don't know, 7 pounds. That's what I'm hearing. 7 pounds. Um, yeah. Okay. I think I finally caught up. Oh, Diane saying I've been getting people as followers using my logo. Yeah, that's the dead giveaway. If someone follows you and it's my logo, um, I was like looking for my logo. I'm like, where's my logo? Oh, right here. That's my logo tattooed on my arm. It's not me. I don't follow people I mean, I follow people, so I guess it could be me. I sometimes do follow people, but just be careful. I only have one account. It's at Divine Magic. Yeah. Okay. Let me do them. Let me get to this now. How do aliens see us? They're saying, hold the rods, and they're gonna just download some insights. Okay, this is something, we'll see how this works on camera. Early on, when I was just learning divination and then getting to know my pantheon, I saw someone online say, like if you're connected with rods, you can use the rods to point to where, like ask the rods to point into the in the room where the energy is, like where the deity is. Okay. So like in other words, if you imagine that maybe an alien or an interdimensional being might be in the room with you and they see you. So I saw that on someone else said that, and I'm like, oh, I'm gonna try that. And so I'm like, I think I remember reminding me. So I asked, can you show me? Is that true? Can I use the rods to show? Will you show me where you are? Yes. So then I'm like, okay. So this is the part where I don't know how it's gonna work on camera, because I was, when this happened for real, I was standing and I was moving around the room, and I'm like, okay, show me which way. And so they pointed this way. So then I would turn, and then they would like point a different way, and I'm like, oh, over there. And then they were like, nope, over there. And they just kind of kept like, and then, so then I'm like, wait, are you just like everywhere? And they're like, yep, everywhere. So, I mean, that was a real moment I had when I was just like, what? And then they're like teasing me in a way, like having fun with me of like, over here, no, over here. Now I'm over here. And I kind of felt like at first, like I was chasing them, like, oh, now you're over there. You wanted over there. But the point was, and the reason that's an answer to this question is that they are, well, okay, they're saying hold the rods. They see us. Okay, actually, I'm going to answer this in two ways, because the question was, how do aliens see us? But I'm broadening that to be like aliens, gods, all the whole interdimensional realms, because there's not just one category. It's aliens, it's gods, it's fairies, it's dragons, it's angels. They're all a little different, and they're all interdimensional to us. And so now let's answer that question. Interdimensional beings see us as if they are in the room with us. They see it, all of them. Like what they were showing me that day so long ago when they were like, woo, over here, over there. It's like they are everywhere. It is omniscient. That said, consent is extremely important to them. They will not just pop into your thoughts without your consent. They also won't support you without your consent. That's why when we do the meditation, we call them in, we request their assistance. It is consent. When you call in assistance, you are automatically giving consent. You are requesting it. They're interrupting me because I always have a treadmill show. I use a treadmill most days, and I always have a show that I'm watching on the treadmill. And my current treadmill show is the OA, which was recommended to me like from a bunch of people, and just I never watched it. And now I'm really interested. I know I've been told that it was divinely guided, and it definitely was. But just today, for those of you who have seen it, today I watched this morning when I was on the treadmill. I watched the episode. I think I'm in season 2, where the octopus, if you've seen it, you remember the octopus in the tank? And the octopus very specifically says to the main character, I need your consent. And she kind of goes like, yeah, I'm in, or something. She just mumbles. And he says, no, I need you to speak the whole sentence, or I need you to speak the whole thing out loud. And so then she says, she like speaks this very firm consent sentence. And I'm like, I mean, that alone was like, yep, that was definitely a channel detail. That is how this works. I've had experiences that I would describe as initiation experiences, but there's always this beginning moment that the question comes in exactly like the episode of the OA I watched this morning, exactly like that, where I'm hearing, do we have your consent? And I'll be like, sure. And they're like, no, say it. And I will say, you have my consent to Take me into this initiation, into this next step of the journey. They won't bring you along if you don't give them that. I'm hearing what I'm hearing is a note that says, for the next Adult Swim, talk about this. So I'm going to make a note for the next Adult Swim, which is Monday, unless it comes up tomorrow in open office hours. But Adult Swim is what we call our Monday and Wednesday lives. That is for the community lives. So we are going to talk about more of a nuanced conversation about consent in our next Adult Swim conversation. Is over here, along with Adam and Eve and Lilith. Those are our two topics that are on deck for our next member conversation. Oh, Jessica's watching the OA too. I love it. Kelly's asking, can you redo your very first meditation teaching? The bi-monthly lessons move way too fast for you to keep up. Interesting. I have been rushed lately. You're absolutely right. What I'm going to do, Jessica, is I'm going to go back to the first one and see how I did it differently. I didn't realize that I know I gotten faster, but I didn't realize it was like to the point where you struggle to follow. So how about this? The next one, which is coming up a week from tomorrow, I will intentionally do it more slowly. So if any of you have not done it yet, please try to join me. You can sign up at divinemagic.com/April2, and you can pay $10 if you want to, but I don't recommend it. If you want, I recommend you just join one of the membership levels, which you can. There's two options that are less than $10. It doesn't get you the lives, but it gets you the meditation for less than $10. So thank you for that feedback. And I will, or Kelly, I'm sorry, I said Jessica, but I said it meant Kelly. Kelly's the one that asked for me to slow it down. Yes, I will do that next time. Kelly, please join, and thank you. Okay. Anything else on how aliens see us? Let me see. Anything else on I'm hearing they're saying like some people, because I was just kind of lumping in like aliens and gods. Some people might have the question, are aliens gods? And so are aliens gods? Sort of. Some are, some aren't. Let me ask this though. Have all of the gods been aliens in the past? No answer. I mean, they're aliens now. Are all of the gods expressed as aliens? Yes. But did they also have a journey as an alien? Yes. Okay. So if you remember me saying on this, like once you win this game, that's just the first game. Once you win the game, then it's like, what game do you want to play next? So some souls choose angel journey. Some souls choose alien journey. Some souls, I'm hearing like more, but they're not telling me. So anyway, we can go on more and more journeys. And if we keep going, we end up becoming gods. Or we can't. They can. Anyway, let me just zip through the last taxes. I'm just hearing no comment on taxes. But last but not least, GLP-1s. They're saying that just like plant medicine, GLP-1s, that was a gift to humanity right at this point in time, because again, many people are candidates for GLP-1s because of the toxins in our food, water, and air. So we have been working against opposing forces for so long. And so GLP-1s is something that was brought to the world with divine guidance to help those who need it. Now, you might hear that GLP-1s impact your ability to be, to hear spiritual input. What we were told the other day is if you're an actual candidate for GLP-1, you've already got a whole lot of food noise disrupting your ability to connect. So if the GLP-1 gets rid of your food noise, that's going to open you to the voices that you haven't been able to hear, the connection you haven't been able to make. However, for the people who use GLP-1s not because they're good candidates, but just because they think it's going to be an easier choice for them to become healthier, they're not a good fit, and they will have much more disruptive experience. That's all they wanted to say about that. And now it's the top of the hour. I am going to officially say goodbye. Thank you for being with me today, especially those of you who have been with me for 3 hours now. Thank you for those of you who are members. I can't wait to connect with the immersion group tomorrow. Make sure you're signed up. It's free, but you do have to register. Yeah, that's it. So thank you again for being my guest today. I will be doing this every Friday, and I appreciate you so much. I appreciate you so much. I learn from your questions. So thank you to you. Thank you to my Pantheon. Have a beautiful weekend. I will see you immersion members tomorrow for office hours. Bye, everybody.